A brother asked from Germany, Turkish brother. He wants to know when did Hazrat Masih Maud's message reach Turkey, and who was the first Ahmadi among the Turks?
Right. So, are you going to give the answer to this question yourself? Huh? No? Why not?
I don't know.
You come from Turkey, and you should know it better. What was the name of that gentleman who translated the books in Turkish?
Dr. Muhammad Jalal.
Huh?
Dr. Muhammad Jalal Shams.
That's right. He is one of the earliest ones. But I think there were some Turks who became Ahmadis. But let me first wait for the translation, please. So, would you please name the gentleman whom I mentioned, who has done so much for the Jamaat, who translated many books, and he dedicated his life, practically all his life, for this purpose. What was the name of that gentleman?
The old one, or the missionary?
No, not the missionary. The old man who died only last year, I think.
Yes. Shinasi Siber. Shinasi Siber. Shinasi Siber.
Shinasi Tebash.
Siber.
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 Tebash.
Seber.
Seba.
Shinasi Siber, late.
Sebat. That's right. Mr. Sebat, huh?
Siber.
Sebash.
With an R.
With R.
Siber. Your R is pronounced in a manner that I couldn't follow it. The English generally do not pronounce the last R.
Yeah, but we do.
You do. But I couldn't actually, I'm sorry for that. Sebar.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Right. So, do you know when he became an Ahmadi? How long ago?
But before him, I think there must be someone.
But I'll come to that. The known Ahmadis in the recent past, or even some remote past, with whom I have been in touch, or whom I know personally,
Yes.
Very dedicated people. Mr. Sabar is the one who is the oldest of all the Ahmadis which live today.
60
Correct?
years ago.
What?
About 60 years ago.
Yes, he died.
Yes. No, higher. He accepted Ahmadiyyat.
No, I'm not talking of him then. You are mentioning a different person altogether. There was a Turk Ahmadi before you became an Ahmadi,
Yes.
who was known to be an Ahmadi for a long, long time. I wanted to ask about his name,
Yes, that is his name.
which is Sabar.
Yes.
And you say he became Ahmadi only 6 years ago.
60 years. 60 years.
60.
60 years ago.
Oh, because again the problem of Muslim. You said 60.
Yes, 60.
Right, that is true. He became an Ahmadi 60 years ago. But even before him, I know Ahmadiyyat had reached Turkey. Not only directly, but also through Iran, through Persia, and also through Palestine, I think. About the Persian contact of Turkish Ahmadis, we know definitely from an account of a British emissary who was a sort of moving ambassador of the British government in early 20s, or even I think before the 20s. He traveled to Afghanistan, to Iran, to Turkey and back, and he was not an Ahmadi. But in his accounts of his travel, he begins to mention Ahmadiyyat without knowing what it is. He says, when I met a Pasha from Turkey in Iran, he was a big Pasha and a very powerful man who had many following, who had much following. He inquired from me where I was from, and I told him that I was from India. He inquired immediately, have you ever heard of Qadian, and have you ever heard of the Imam Mahdi having appeared? He said, no. He said, he has appeared. So when you return home, next time you come, bring me some of his books. So he said, when I returned to India, again I forgot to take the books, and I met the same Pasha elsewhere, and immediately he pointed his finger at me. Have you brought any books? And he said he was very dedicated. And another person he mentioned in his memoirs was a captain of a ship who was also a Turk. And he said, I met that captain, and he was a very dedicated Ahmadi. So we know that before the end of the second decade of this century, Ahmadiyyat had definitely reached Turkish people, and some of them were big leaders in their community, and some were highly educated. Also, I know from my uncle's accounts, whose name was Sayyid Waliullah Shah Sahib. When he went to Palestine, he also went to Turkey and participated in some struggle against the British or against the Russians, I don't remember, but he did participate in that fight on behalf of the Turks. So he used to tell us very interesting stories of many Turkish saintly people, godly people having accepted Ahmadiyyat, and they were on the best of terms. But unfortunately, he lost his memory because during that period he was imprisoned, or something happened to him. Because of that intense suffering, he lost his memory. But he remembered Qadian. So it was the British government who conveyed him back to Qadian. So his memory was a bit confused about those things. It came back gradually, but it was not very clear. So we know from these records that Ahmadiyyat had reached Turkey quite early after the turn of the century. Why did it not continue? I think many political factors intervened. And I'm stretching my memory to find out if there was a Turk Sahabi or not. Do you remember any? So, out of my vague memories of these things, I have answered this question. But I expect, as always happens, our history specialists will immediately be at it now. The moment they hear it, they will send their team to the library and search everything upside down, and then send their report about the Ahmadiyyat in Turkey. Consolidated, dependable, authentic report. And tomorrow, inshallah, if it comes, and I'm sure it will come by tomorrow, I'll be able to speak more on this subject. Satisfied? To a degree, yes. And the answer can be given tomorrow, because already we have crossed the limit of the time.
سأقدم لحضراتكم